criteria is musicality. So that's required in artistic swimming. Performances are done to music and are choreographed, and their choreography is developed, and then they are judged on their execution of that choreography. So that's artistic swimming. Pool swimming, there's no music required. They are required to execute a race of a certain distance in a certain stroke, which is a musicality in a sense, because it's not like track and field where everybody gets to just run. Okay, and people can run however they want. Swimming is distinct from something like athletics for that reason, because there are different ways of swimming. So in that sense, there is a bit of musicality in terms of just like remembering and executing one stroke. So it's yeah. In that sense, there is like musicality, and there is a bit of a artistic swimming has choreography, and in that sense, the musicality is required. In pool swimming, there's musicality if one thinks about it and how one executes the race. So kind of finding the rhythm in a given performance of just kind of how do I go into my turn to maximize my speed into and out of the turn. So it's strictly speaking not musicality, however it is like rhythm of its own sort. Okay. So that's that one. Coordination. Both sports require coordination, but kind of a different sorts. So artistic swimming can be a solo performance, a duet, which is 2 people, or a team, which can be like 6, 8, or 10 people. Like point being, it's more. Coordination is required in 2 or more people. The movements are assessed as to if they're coordinated and in time with each other and in tempo with each other. On an individual level, it requires coordination of one's limbs and coordination with music. And then that's kind of like musicality. So it's how good is one at coordinating one's movements in time with something else. Swimming doesn't have that restriction. So you can think of it as like kind of a restriction in artistic swimming is one, it's not a free like choreography in the sense of just perform the choreography. No, it's choreography done to music. So it's more restricted in that sense. Pool swimming does require coordination. It requires coordination of limbs. And depending on, okay, some people might say that's silly. Depending on the stroke when swimming, I think the biggest example in swimming for coordination is breaststroke. It requires coordination in terms of if one's hands are not even as one's swimming, like if one's, a few inches or their feet are a few inches off, they get disqualified because they're not swimming correct. It requires extreme coordination depending on one's stroke in executing the stroke itself. So both actually, I would say this is something that's high in both. However, the type of coordination is different. And coordination is required very much in artistic swimming in like group context. It's considered a very high risk sport because it requires flips, because one could faint, because they are not getting enough oxygen. And people could kick other people. Like this is a sport where it's flips and arms and stuff and twirls and water, and like they jump into the pool and they might dive in on top of each other. It's artistic swimming is considered a high risk sport. Pool swimming is a very low risk sport. There is coordination required in both. And then in pool swimming, there's coordination in the sense of like, if it's a relay, there's multiple people going, not at the same time, like on the same relay. It's one person at a time. If one does it right and one remembers, yeah, might have been disqualified in the past for more than one swimmer in the pool at a time. And yeah, but the point being, there is a coordination of somebody swimming in, touching the wall, and the next person diving off the block in relays. So they both actually have a coordination in terms of, well, if I'm an artistic swimmer and I'm doing a kick or something and I'm doing this kind of movement, I don't want to hit myself when I bring the hand out of the water. So it requires coordination of and like knowing spacing of one's limbs on an individual level and then on a group level. And then swimming requires coordination in strokes like breaststroke or backstroke because one needs to figure out how to turn over on one's stomach and not hit the wall. So it requires coordination with the pool itself. That kind of thing. So that is it. So that one's required for both. So that's it. I do have a bonus, tangentially related. And that is artistry in making a YouTube video versus a choreographed artistic swimming routine. So this is most pronounced. So this is again a contrast video. So my videos, I'm gonna give it to the artistic swimmers. Artistic swimming is a performance, and a routine is a performance. They provide their choreography in advance and then are judged on execution of that choreography. That's not really like YouTube. YouTube's just kind of the final product. So in that sense, there is a higher level of execution for artistic swimming. This is again like individual performance. And I would say a lot of YouTube videos and videos in general aren't really a valid comparison in terms of artistry, because they're disqualified because they're not high enough quality in terms of being compared on the same grounds as artistic swimming. What the heck do I mean by that? Artistic swimming, they start and then they stop. They have to go all the way through. So videos that are edited, so like cropping would be like analogous to touching the bottom of the pool in artistic swimming. That's a penalty. That's a no-no. They went out of bounds. They touched something. So cropping is kind of like that. It's a penalty. It's still editing, but it's the minor edit. They don't get a stop in their performance and say, you know what, we're going to cut that bad part out. So videos like vlogs where there's multiple clips edited together, or it's just one big take, but then things are edited out, those are not valid. They're disqualified from being compared with artistic swimming in terms of artistry because they are not one take. Artistic swimming is one take. So I'd say if one wants to make that comparison or contrast, it requires videos that are on par with artistic swimming in terms of just single execution. I have a bunch of those videos. However, I mean, the coordination, I've hit my glasses on here, okay, like my coordination isn't as high. The musicality, depending on what one's making, I would say there is what's the contrast? There is artistry, but it's kind of like coordination between pool swimming and artistic swimming. It's present in both, however, it's different. For me, in my videos, and the vast majority of my videos are single take, so they are valid in terms of like comparing. The artistry is different. However, there is artistry present in especially in what's included in the routine, or like a theme of an artistic swimming routine, and what's included in the content of a video. Both require artistry, and I would say both artistic swimming and YouTubing, especially in the single take videos, creativity is required for both. Even if it doesn't feel like it's creative, to be able to do things without editing oneself, there's a extreme internal strength that kind of I have found in my experience I have developed in making single take things. So I'm guessing that's true for artistic swimming performers at the highest levels. Well, if I'm gonna put this much effort into it and do it without editing myself, I gotta find a way to make it enjoyable for me and at least try for the viewer. So in that sense, there's creativity is kind of for both. Yeah, both excel in creativity.